What if we could just grab that Fallout 1 and 2 vibe and make it so that you're actually a first person shooter, like the modern Fallouts, but we have like, but it's all old school and everything looks like it's like the early Fallouts. And it's like, what if you could just go back to the early Fallouts, right? And now you're first person. It's a first person game. Now, this isn't going to include every aspect of those games, but it really is trying to harken back to that. And it's so cool. And it is so freaking cool looking. This is like, you could tell that this game is made by passionate people that love Fallout. And so let's take a look at this. This is a gameplay footage. They showed off this game earlier. I think it was earlier this year. And let's see how it looks. So check this out. You can see right there that the gun, look at the way the gun looks. It looks like a sprite, right? Just like those old Doom games, right? And the way the character looks, it's giving that vibe. The character's hands almost looks like the CGI from the original Fallout, the really shitty CGI. I don't know if you guys played games from the late 90s, but if you play something like StarCraft, the first StarCraft, you can see those old ass CGI cutscenes, right? That look terrible. They look like they're running on like an ancient computer because they were. But back then, at the time, it was like, man, 3D was new. And back then, it was like, wow, this looks almost like Toy Story 1, but blurrier, you know, and more pixelated with less anti-aliasing. And so over here, they're showing like different environments. Here, they're showing this, what is this, a zombie? And he's like, you know, throwing up. And you know, here's the shotgun. And obviously the game is a work in progress, right? But this is how the shooting is. My understanding is, and you can see right there at the bottom left that it actually has like the Fallout style combat log, where you can see, look, how much damage you dealt, like what did you do, and these are ghouls, and how much damage you took and all of that. And that gets every time you hit, right? Every time you strike somebody, it gets updated in real time. And it's very cool. It's very authentic to the original games. And man, these animations are just so crazy. Like the reloading and the way his hand looks and everything. Really freaking cool how they did this. And you can see the UI at the bottom. The UI's got the old school, like, you know, the HP, and the HP is like the little, what do you call those? It's like it flips up and down, you know, like almost like a gas station ticker that shows like the gas station prices, right? Like an old school version of that, right? Like you would see on some of those older devices from back in the day. I remember when I was a little kid, we had a family member that worked at a bank, and they had those classic typewriters, and it was in a computer. There was no computers, it was just typewriters, and everything you did there was just like that, right? And it just feels like that. It feels like, you know, that whole cha-ching, and it would like push everything up mechanically, and it would update everything mechanically. That's the kind of stuff, that's the kind of vibe that the UI is going for. And of course, you can see the character's face, very much like games of that era, very much like Doom. And you can see your weapon, just like the older Fallouts, and additional information, you know, on the bottom right. So very freaking cool. I'm really interested to see how this game is gonna like play out, like in terms of like is there gonna be levels? Do you see like levels, or is this like you just kind of keep walking around almost like an open world, you know? I guess right now he doesn't have a weapon equipped, so his hands just up like that. Use him picking up weapons and armor. This is I guess like a power fist. Very cool. Look at the animation when the guy dies and he hits. Look at that. Look at that. There's even like reaction when he pushes him. The ghoul will hit the toilet, and the toilet like breaks apart. That's so cool. I mean, that's certainly more than what you see in Battlefield 6 when you shoot somebody right next to a toilet. That's more destruction there. So yeah, they're just showing off like different weapons and different environments. And I don't know when this game's coming out. You know, it still looks like very much a work in progress, but it's very cool. Simply amazing idea. In fact, just thinking about this, it gets like my mind going. Like, it makes me think like, dude, what if somebody, and of course, like this because Nintendo fucking sucks. And Nintendo's just gonna do the bullshit that they do, and they're gonna call the lawyers and, you know, try to like take down any mods or games like that. But I would freaking love for the original Pokemon to get this treatment, right? Like, imagine like they just remake the original Pokemon and they have graphics like this that are like sprites and stuff like that, you know, that are sprite-like in a 3D environment, and you're just like throwing out your Pokemon, you know, and you're fighting like real battles like right there without like a changing scene like in the old games. That'd be so freaking cool. But you know that like freaking you're better off if you're like a modder or you're some sort of like novice game developer. You're better off making your own game. You're better off making a fucking I can't believe this isn't Pokemon or legally distinct Pokemon like Power World or something than trying that, because Nintendo's just gonna make it. The difference between Bethesda and Nintendo is that Nintendo isn't gonna, like, Bethesda is, they've always honored and respected and encouraged modders. They've always honored like their games being like, you know, enhanced and improved by the player base. And fucking Nintendo is the complete opposite. Nintendo is like one of those terrible fucking companies that like are massive control freaks and want to control fucking everything. They don't want to let you do anything. If you're enjoying this video and you'd like to see bigger and better content, the only thing you need to do is hit subscribe and like, and I'll take care of the rest. And that's the worst part. People were losing their minds about like the Nintendo Switch 2. Like there's like somewhere in like Nintendo's new EULA, like their terms of service, there's some line there that Nintendo can like turn off your Nintendo Switch and completely deactivate it for any reason they want. You know, and it's like, as we head into the future and we got these devices that are more and more I would say technologically advanced, right? Because if you look at like the Game Boy was very simple. You turn on the Game Boy, nothing happened unless it had a cartridge in it, right? They didn't even have like a OS that you could like boot into as a user. And over time, Nintendo has added more and more features, and their consoles have become more, you know, more complicated, right? And more almost like PC like in some ways. Right now they have like the eShop, and they have like, you know, you can see your screenshots and your information. You can like download games, you can do all these things. And as they get more and more complex, they're gonna get more and more draconian in how they can control what you can do. So that's very unfortunate. You know, super cool that Bethesda is, you know, really cool about stuff like this. Hey Wink Warrior, nice seeing you. Thanks for commenting. I've been good. And, you know, they allow these mods. And that's super freaking cool. So, you know, we'd love to see it. I certainly do.
Subscribe and like.